Hello children, welcome to the digital class. So today we shall learn about an interesting topic, that is industries in India, which is the 7th unit in your textbook. So children, when we speak about industries, what image comes to your mind? Yes, you say that it is a factory, right? Okay, let us learn in detail now. Let's see the learning outcomes of this chapter. By the end of the chapter, you will be able to analyze the basic necessities for setting up factories, acquaint knowledge about industrial location, classify different types of industries, explain about government and industrial development, analyze the emerging problems in the industries, acquire knowledge of new policies for industries, and know the impact of industrialization policies. So let's have a quick mind mapping of this chapter. This chapter is divided into 3 parts. So today we shall discuss about part 1. So let's see the mind mapping. This chapter can be understood under the following headings. First, basic necessities to set up factories, types of industries, government and industrial development, emerging problems in industries, new policies for industries, impact of industrialization policies, and increase in environmental problems and pollution. So today in part 1, we shall learn about basic necessities to set up factories and also classification of industries. So are you all ready now? Let's go to the topic, right? So let me introduce the word industry to you. See, generally when we say industry, what picture comes to your mind? Yes, it is machines, right? So let me give the difference between factory and industry. Generally we feel that both are similar. Yes, they are similar, but factory means which consists of machines. A building with machines and workers is known as factory, where the things are manufactured. Okay, did you understand? Then what is industry? Group of factories make an industry. Okay, let me explain this with an example, right? See, suppose a person wants to buy a smartphone. Nowadays we all are using smartphones, right? So this is a smartphone. Suppose he wants to buy a smartphone. Where does he go? He will go to a shop. Then, how does a shopkeeper get these smartphones? So, shopkeeper will purchase the smartphone from distributor. Distributor purchases from manufacturer. Who is manufacturer? He is the owner of the factory, who makes or produces the goods and services, right? So, here the manufacturer of a factory is producing a smartphone, and finally this smartphone will be consumed by the consumer, that is the people. Okay, is it clear? Now what is an industry? Suppose there will be many smartphone manufacturers. So like you have manufacturer A, B, C, D and so on. So all these are manufacturers or factories which produce goods of same product. What is the product? Smartphone. So all these manufacturers are producing smartphones. Okay. So this industry, a group of organization who produces smartphones, is known as smartphone industry. Am I clear? So group of organizations who produce the same product is known as industry, right? So let's see the meaning here. An industry is a group of organizations involved in producing or manufacturing or handling the same type of product and service. For example, a group of smartphone manufacturers is known as an industry. So as I told you, group of organizations who are producing the same kind of product. What is the product here? It is a smartphone. So this industry is known as smartphone industry. In the same way, there will be many industries like pharmaceuticals who make medicines, or even pencil, pens, all these have a separate industries. So today what is the topic we are going to discuss? It is industries in India. So you can see the image here, the industries located in India. Okay. So India was industrially active in handicrafts, that is goods made by hand, and especially in textile industry. So ancient India was making handicrafts, especially textile industry, right? Now let us have a quick glance at other handicrafts. So you can see the image here. What are the other handicrafts made by the craftsmen? It is basket weaving, idols, decorative items, etc. Like this, we have many handicrafts, and these are known as handlooms because they are made by hand, right? So earlier India was under the colonial rule of British. So when India was under the colonial rule, it could not set up many industries. Very few industries were set up in India. Yes, as you can see in the map here, many colonies were set up in India. Different countries have occupied different places in India. Like you can see in the index, dot represents European settlements, and this is Portuguese, then you have Dutch, Danish and French settlements. So see the settlements where they are settled near the coastal areas, because for them trade near coastal areas is very easy. Europeans used to come for trade at the ports. Okay, so because of colonialism, India could not set up many industries, could not develop many industries. And what was the policy of British government? It did not encourage the modern industries in India. It only ensured that it had market in India, okay, market for British goods. This led to the destruction of handicrafts, which was very traditional, right? And craftsmen lost their employment opportunities. You can see the craftsmen here. They are making the crafts by hand. Okay, but after independence, when did India become independent? On 15th August 1947, right? So immediately after 1947, India began many initiatives to promote industrial activities in the country. One important driving force behind this idea was to become self-sufficient in meeting our needs and to make the country an industrially developed nation. So after independence, Indian government gave first priority to set up industries in India. Like first they have to set up basic industries. What are basic industries? Which produce basic goods such as machines to other factories. So without basic industries, we cannot run industries. Other factories cannot be run. So what is the main motto of Indian government immediately after independence? To promote industrial activity and to make India self-sufficient. Self-sufficient in the needs. That is before 1947, India was importing the goods from other countries. Why it was importing the goods? Because it did not have proper machines. So machinery was also imported from other countries. So to avoid this, to become self-sufficient, that means not depending on other countries, our government started setting up industries. So in this way, industry started developing. So can you tell me, what is the basic requirement to set up industries? The government had to plan what are the requirements needed to set up an industry. So let's see the requirements now. First requirement. So you can see the machines here. This is a factory. Okay. What do factory needs? First thing, machines. And modern industries, they need, along with machines, they need electricity. Okay, because these are power looms, they run on electricity. So what is the first requirement? Machines and electricity. Then second requirement. Second requirement is raw materials. Without machines, without raw materials, industries cannot run. So what are the raw materials here? Minerals and ores. Minerals and ores are extracted from the ground. Okay. So, to understand how minerals and ores are useful for the industries, I am going to give you one example, right? Look at the example here. What is the picture you are seeing here? It is a bicycle, right? And you all love to ride cycles. But do you know how cycles are made? Okay, cycle is produced by using steel, right? Steel is required to produce cycle. But how steel is produced? It is produced by using minerals and ores like iron and coal, which is extracted from the earth. So you can see the picture here. Some factories produce steel sheets from iron and coal. So iron and coal are minerals and ores. So what do some factories produce? They produce steel sheets. Can steel sheets be used directly? No. So these steel sheets are changed into steel tubes by some other factory. You can see the picture. This is steel tubes, right? And some other factories, they produce steel frames. You can see the cycle also. You have a steel rods, you have steel frames, etc. Right? And finally, cycle is produced. So this is a process of production. It is a chain of production, and many steps are involved in the process of production. So this process is known as intermediate steps, and the goods which are produced in these steps, these are called as intermediary goods, which produce the raw materials to other factories. Okay. So now let us see the steps here. These are called as intermediary steps in the chain of production. Minerals and ores form the basic sources from which various raw materials required by factories are produced. A large number of goods are produced by factories that are used by other factories. These are intermediate steps in the chain of production by many factories before we can get final goods that are directly used by people or consumers or producers. Now look at the chain here as we have discussed. So what is a mineral and ore? Iron and coal. These minerals are used to produce steel and steel sheets. Okay. Steel sheets are produced by one factory. Then steel tubes. Steel sheets are converted into steel tubes. Then cycle frames. So in this way, one factory is producing goods for or raw materials for other factory. Okay. So these steps are called intermediate steps in the chain of production. Okay. Did you understand? Okay, let's do one activity now. Make a list of the products that are produced by factories for other factories. So just now we have discussed about the cycle. You need to find out another good which is produced by other factories. What are the intermediate steps in that? Okay. What is the third requirement? So we have discussed about first requirement, which is machines and electricity. Second requirement is minerals and ores, that is raw materials. So what is the third requirement to set up factories? What is the picture showing? It is showing the vehicles, right? So what is it? It is transportation. Very important to transport goods from one place to another place. What are the modes of transportation? This is roadways, railways and waterways. So what are the essential requirements for transportation? First is a system of roads which are in good condition and which link a large number of towns and villages in the country. So first mode, that is the system of roads. See, if roads are not proper, so how the goods will be transported? It is not easy to transport the goods quickly. So first thing is what? Roads should be in good condition, right? See, if you go to a village, what kind of roads we see there? They are not pakka roads, they are kacha roads. That's why the transportation to remote areas will be very less. So first thing is roads should be in good condition and they should have a link between villages, cities and towns. Okay. So next one is a system of railways. We know that railways are the fastest mode of transportation, isn't it? And so this system of transportation must be provided, right? Then a system of ports. What is port? It can be airport, it can be water port, that is seaports, right? So ports which accommodate a large number of ships and also organize the loading and unloading from them. So we see ships. Ships also carry loads, right? So these goods which are carried by ships, the seaports have to be in such a way that they can accommodate a large number of ships, and care should be taken while loading and uploading the goods. Okay, so these are the essential requirements for transportation. So finally, what are the basic requirements to set up industries? Machines, electricity, minerals and ores, and transportation. Now, basic industries. What are basic industries? Factories producing the essential goods such as machines, electricity, minerals and ores, and transportation are called as basic industries. Basic industries produce essential goods that can form a base to support a large variety of factories. So, in the beginning itself I told you, basic industries are very much important and they play a very important role in the setting up industries. So, what are basic industries? Now, we have seen the basic things required to set up factories. What are they? Machines, electricity, transportation, minerals. So, how machines are produced? Machines should be made first, isn't it? So, for this, the industry, that is the basic means foundation. Basic industries produce machinery. So, this machinery is used by other factories. Okay. So, basic industries, they play a very important role in setting up industries. Okay. Next is industrial location. See, generally, if a question is asked where the industries have to be located, then what answer you gave? You say it should be located at the outskirts of the cities or where population is very less, right? But along with this, the availability of some materials, some things are very much required. So, what are those? Availability of raw materials, labor, capital, power, and market. So, the raw material should be available, market should be available, capital, that is the investment, should be available, power and market, labor. So, if these things are available, then industries can be set up very easily. But is it possible to find all these facilities in one place? No. So, urbanization starts where industries start. So, urbanization and industrial activity, they go together. So, wherever industries are set up, urbanization follows. That means, what is urbanization? Urban cities or urban centers, right? So, let us see what urban centers provide to the industries. Cities provide markets and services. What kind of services? Like banking service, insurance service, labor service. What is banking service? See, when industries have to be set up, first thing is capital, requirement of capital, right? So, investment. So, how can they set up industries? From where will they get the capital? Banks. Banks provide capital to the business, right? Then insurance. First thing is banks. Second service. What is the second service provided by the cities? Insurance. See, sometimes what happens, the factories may get some accidents may occur in the factories. So, in this case, if insurance is claimed, they will not go under loss. They can get back their amount. So, for that, insurance is compulsory. Then the third one is labor service. So, labor plays a vital role in the industries, right? So, labors, from where do we get the laborers, that is the workers? from the cities or from nearby villages also, right? Next is consultancy service. Consultancy service and financial advice. So what is consultancy service? Just now we have discussed about labor, right? So to get this labor, we don't have to go somewhere. The consultancy services, they provide the workers to the factories. See, for example, many people are going to Dubai, right? How are they going? It is through consultancy. Okay? So this is also provided by cities. And the last one is financial advice. So financial advice is given for what? For setting up industries. That is how much investment has to be done. How much investment has to be done to the machines or to the labors. So everything should be planned. So this advice is given by the financial advice service. Okay, I hope you have understood. Next is agglomeration economies. Many industries tend to come together to make use of advantages offered by the urban centers known as agglomeration. Industrial agglomeration refers to the clustering of a large number of firms in a related area. So what is agglomeration? Agglomeration means different industries coming together like a cluster, like a group. Okay, suppose we have seen a smartphone industry, right? So different factories which are producing smartphone, they are located in one place. It is known as cluster. So what is this cluster? Cluster of industries. Which industry? Smartphone industry. So in this way, we have many agglomeration, like you have pharmaceuticals, automobiles, etc. So let's see in the map. Can you see the map here? Yes. See, can you see the red points, green points? You can see the index. So green is pharmaceuticals, that is medicines, then automotive, electricity, different. So you have different clusters. So clusters are nothing but group of factories, okay, in particular location. So what is that known as? Agglomeration of industries. Agglomeration is nothing but grouping of different industries in one place. What are the advantages of agglomeration? It lowers transportation costs. It develops local markets. It gathers a labor force that is larger. It creates knowledge spillovers between firms, sparking ideas and innovation. So as we have seen that different factories, they come into one cluster, different industries. So when they are at one place, they have many advantages. Like they can exchange labor, they can exchange raw materials because they are of same product, and transportation will be less, and finally they can even exchange their ideas. So this is the benefit of agglomeration. Okay, did you understand? Now let us see the relationship between inputs, outputs and market. So these three are very important in the process of production. Market, and this is a circular flow. Market provides inputs or raw materials. What are inputs? These are factors of production. There are 4 factors of production. What are they? Land, labor, capital and organization. So they play a vital role in the industries. So inputs and raw materials are provided by the market. These are transported to factory, and factories using the raw materials and inputs, they produce output. Output means product, and these outputs are again sold in the market for the profits. Okay, did you understand the relationship between inputs, outputs and market? And it is a circular flow, right? So that was about basic necessities to set up factories. Now let's move on to the next part of our chapter, that is classification of industries. Industries are classified into 4 types: agro-based industries, mineral-based industries, automobile industries, IT and electronics industry. What is IT? Information technology. Agro-based industries are again classified into three: cotton textile, jute textile and sugar industry. Mineral-based industries are classified into four. What are they? Aluminium smelting, chemical industries, fertilizer industry, cement industry. And more two industries are automobile industry and information technology and electronics industry. Now let's see the first one, that is agro-based industry. By the word agro, that means agriculture. Okay. So let's see the agro-based industry. The industries which are based on agricultural products are called agro-based industry. For example, you can take cotton. Cotton is produced in the agriculture sector. So this cotton is used by the industries to produce cotton cloth. So this is known as agro-based industries. So let us understand the first industry, that is textile industry. So textile industry, if we see the contribution towards the industrial production, out of 100%, how much is contributed from textile industry? It is 14%. And employment, how many people are employed in textile industry? That is 45 million persons directly. And export earnings. Export earning means foreign exchange. When you export the goods, you get some income from the foreign country. So how much percentage we are getting? 15%. And GDP, what is GDP? Gross domestic product. So how much it is contributing towards GDP? It is 4%. Let us understand what is GDP. It is gross domestic product. That means total value of finished goods and services produced by a country in a year. So whatever goods, total finished goods and services in a country in a year is known as gross domestic product. Okay? Okay. Textile industry is self-reliant and completes in value chain. What is self-reliant? As I told you, before independence, we used to import goods from other countries. But textile industry is the only industry which did not import any goods from other countries. Now also it is self-reliant. That means it stands on its own legs. It is not dependent on other countries for raw materials or machines, right? And it also completes value chain. What is value chain? Value addition in the textile industry. So you can see here, this is the process of production. It starts from fiber production and finished good is garments. So fiber production, it is produced in the agriculture sector. For example, cotton. So fiber production, even raw fiber, that is raw cotton also can be sold in the market. Yes, we take cotton, right? So fiber production, either the raw fiber can be used for spinning into yarn or it can be sold in the market. So in the same process, first the fiber is produced, then it is spun into yarn. What is yarn? Thread. Okay. So directly the yarn also can be sold in the market or exported to other countries, or it can be used for weaving and knitting. See the process here. Raw fiber can be spun into yarn. Yarn can be weaved and knitted into fabric. And this fabric can be dyed and finished, and garment is manufactured. So here values are added even for the byproducts. What are the byproducts? Like yarn, fabric and garments. Either these can be used for producing other material or they can directly be sold in the market. So here what they are getting, it is value added in the chain of production. Okay. So now we have come to the end of our session, that is Industries in India Part 1. Complete the evaluation. Have you seen the official website of SERT and solve the worksheets. I hope you have understood the lesson. Let's meet in the part 2. Thank you.